Good morning, everyone. My name is Janine Gardner, and today's webinar will be used for the front office administrators. Today, what we're going to discuss with you is starting listings two different ways, how to upload the photos to those listings, making changes to those listings, adding in your disclosures, and also some search options that you have, and then printing, and finally, how to save and retrieve that search. If you would like to join us for a full class, please give our office a call for customer care or the training department, and we'll be glad to get you scheduled for that class and also some additional classes that we may offer that will help you too as you attend the front desk in your office. So let's go ahead and begin. My name is Janine Gardner again, and I work in the training department. When I first log into Realcomp Online, this is my desktop page, and as you can see, there's many different options that you have. But in order for us to start utilizing Realcomp Online, I'm going to click on RCO3. When I click on RCO3, that opens up to my home page. Now, many times you may log in and see messages that Realcomp has set up, and you may want to tell your office and administrators about these messages, as sometimes the agents may not see them. So be sure that when we've added a new one, that you just don't close out the page. It's there so that you can, again, spread the news to your office of what's happening. In order to utilize that or move on to the next message, you want to click on I have read this, close, or I'll read it later. Every time you close each form, that will lead you here to your home page. Now, here's a couple things you're going to need to have on your home page. One of those is my favorite searches. Now, as you can see, I have several different searches in here. This is going to help you when you save a search, which we'll cover a little later. You can store up to 20 of them here for easy access. All you'll have to do after you name your search and save it to your home page is actually click on the link of the name, and it will run the search for you. But before we do that, let's talk about getting your listings in. That's going to be, of course, one of your primary duties in the front office is putting listings in. So I'm going to show you two specific ways of how to put your listing in. Let's say that the agent gives you the profile sheet, and when you log in, you're going to Realcomp, you're going to go into Input at the top, give that a click. And when you click on Input at the top of the screen, over to the left-hand column it says Input. You're going to click on Add New. When you click on Add New, you have several different options of what type of listing this is. Just for class purposes, I'm going to click on the residential condo listing form. It tends to be our most popular. When you click here, you have several different options of how you would like to start the listing. So again, the agent's already given you the form. What you could do is fill in some of those highlights here that it's asking, click on search, and it will put that information already on the profile sheet for you. So it'll be less typing for you. Or you could go into the first option here that says autofill from public records. Do a public record data search, find the property, and then come back and fill this information in. If you are updating a listing or putting in a listing that was once expired or unconditionally withdrawn, you can click on autofill from an old listing and all that data will pre-fill. That's a separate video though that we'll get to. What most of the time you're going to do, I would say probably 95% of the time, is click on Start Listing from a blank form. When you click on Start Listing from a blank form, you have a wizard that's going to guide you across. You want to follow all 4 pages. Now, if you get interrupted while you're typing in any of those pages, you always want to click back on the Start, and as you can see down at the bottom, you can partially save your information so that you don't lose it. When you're ready to begin again, you'll go back into input. You'll see the link there for that particular address, and you simply can click active, and it will take you back to the page that you last left off. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to click on the wizard and click on page number 1. And when I click on page number 1, it will know your office. What you're going to do is type in that agent's ID number verbatim, and it will switch over to their name. And again, it will know your office. Everything that's in yellow is required. However, because it is a listing and it's a database that Realcomp is, you want to fill in as much information as possible. And here you'll simply check off what the property has. Now, once you're done typing in page 1, there's no need to try to save it. The system will auto-save itself. What you'd like to do is scroll up to the top and simply click on page 2, and again follow suit by filling in the information. You'll scroll back up to page number 3 when you're done and do the same. Now, let's stop here and talk about rooms. As you fill in the number of rooms on the listing ticket and number of bedrooms, full bath and half baths, you'll see down at the bottom room type so that you can add those rooms in and have more options to type in the length and width, the room level, and of course the floor covering. As I scroll back up, I'll click on page number 4. And when I click on page number 4, you'll also notice that the list date and the expiration date are highlighted and require. Let's talk about that as well. You have 48 hours from the time the customer signs the profile form to type the listing into the system. So you may want to make your agents aware of that. When they're handing you the listing ticket, just double check that date. Make sure you're typing it in within the 48 hours of the time the customer signed. And then you'll simply put in that list date, which is the day you're typing it in, and of course the expiration date, which is the time that the customer and the agent set up for their contract time. You'll just simply fill in the rest of the information. As I scroll down, there's 2 things that you also need to know about the remarks section. Number 1, there are no personal information fields whatsoever in public remarks. It is just to describe the property. However, if that agent has typed in any information that is deemed public remarks, meaning or personal and public remarks, meaning anything that can relate them to the listing, you want to remove that and put it in the agent-only remarks. Agent-only remarks is what Realcomp members only will see. The public remarks is just the description of the property. So you again want to remove anything that can directly relate this agent to the listing and add it to agent-only remarks. As you continue to scroll down, the seller's signature on file will always be a yes because the agent actually has documents that states that the seller would like to put their listing onto Realcomp's database. So that will always be a yes. Because you have already filled in the location information, your listing will reflect the map of that particular property. Now that you're done with page numbers 1 through 4, all you have to do is simply come down and click on Submit Listing. When you click on Submit Listing, if everything went well, your screen will refresh and it will give you an MLS number. You now know when you receive that MLS number that the listing is now live in the system. If by chance you click on Submit Listing and your screen comes back very similar to what you're seeing here, that means you've forgotten a few things. So that means per page, you want to go through each page and look for the red button that has the exclamation point, go back and fix that information, and then per page, and then scroll down and click on Submit Listing. Then your screen will refresh and give you an MLS number. So that's the first way of simply typing in your listing. Again, just to recap, after you log into the system, you would go to Input. you would click on Add New, and you choose your property type. And more than likely, you would click on Start Listing from a Blank Form and simply follow each page and then click Submit Listing at the bottom. Whatever you missed, if you missed anything at all, it will tell you, and you'll go back per page and add in that data, click on Submit Listing again to produce an MLS number, and you know that it's live in the system. Also remembering that if you are interrupted anytime during your wizard, you would click on the Start button and click Partial Save, and then go back into Input. It will remember the address that you were working on. You simply click on that, and it will take you back to the page. So you will not miss information. You will not lose information. Here's the second way to type in a listing. Again, the agent has presenting the profile sheet to you. So you can actually start the listing online electronically. And the way that you would do that is through Transaction Desk. I'm going to start the listing through Public Records. Public Records has all parcels in Michigan, whether they were listed or not. This is also a great way for me to show you how to search Public Records as well. So I'm going to scroll up to the top since I'm on my home page, hover over PRD, and choose PRD County Search. Now remember, Public Records has all parcels in Michigan, whether they were listed or not, so you can find any address here in Michigan. After I hover over PRD and choose PRD County Search, the first thing that you always should do is click the county in which the address that you're searching is listed in. So I'm going to click that down arrow, and in this case, I'm going to choose Wayne County. When I choose Wayne County, I'm going to scroll down in the middle, and I see property address. Now, it makes you think you can only type in one address. You can actually type up to 10 at one time, with or without the street number, simply by clicking this More button. So you can click the More button and type in up to 10 streets, numbers, and street names, or simply just the street. Well, the address that I'm going to type in to do my listing is 75 Sandbar. Now, notice that I typed in the street number, and then here I am typing in the street name. I don't know if Sandbar is one word or two words, so what I will do is put an asterisk behind the last letter, so that if it is two words, I'll still be able to find it. If it is together, I will still be able to find it. So here's some basic rules when searching for the address, and this is in Public Records as well as the MLS. Don't type in north, south, east, or west. Don't put in the acronym. It could be either or. What you'll do instead is put the asterisk, then the last word, and let it go. Okay? You're also not going to type in drive, lane, road, court, way, boulevard, avenue. Leave those off as well. Well, what about a street like St. Clair? Is it ST? Is it SAINT? Is it ST period? You'll do the same. Because you're unsure of how it's put it into the system, although you might have your own feeling of how it's typed in, you'll put an asterisk, no space, and then the word Clair. So let me demonstrate that for you really quickly. So let's say I'm listing 123 West Outer Drive. Well, I can't put in the west, so I'll put in an asterisk and just outer, and it would find it for me. Or I'm looking for 555 St. Clair. Instead of putting in Saint, I'll put the asterisk and then the word Clair. And the system will find that for me as well. So your asterisk is either in the beginning because you're unsure of what it starts with, or in this case of Sandbar, as we're using, again, I'm not sure if Sandbar is one word or two words, so I put in what I know for sure, which is the word sand, no space, and put an asterisk, and it will find my results for me. Once I've typed in the street address, I notice I have one match. I'm going to click on the blue button for results at the bottom left. When I click on it, it pulls up public records for me, and I see the address, I see the owner, the category, the state equalized value, and the home percentage. I would like to start a listing using this particular address, so I'm going to simply click on the PIN number to open up public records. When I click on the PIN number to open up public records, here's all the information that the county has about this particular address. And as you can see, you have your taxes, your assessments, any other information. But again, my goal is to start the listing. So if I look underneath the legal description, and I look in the gray area that has all these different links, I run across Transaction Desk. I notice from the second option that it's ready to start the listing with me. So I'm going to simply click on Start a Listing Input Form. So as a recap as this is coming about, I started in Public Records. I clicked on PRD County Search. I picked the county, and then I simply scrolled down and typed in the street number and street name of the property that I'd like to list. I then clicked on Results. When my results showed, I then clicked on the PIN number to open up public records. And then my last step was to find the Transaction Desk link and click on Start a Listing Input Form. Once I did those steps, it leads me here to a confirmation. The system just wants to double check to make sure that this is the correct address for me before it starts the listing. It is. So now I have to click the down arrow where it says listing form and place this address on the right profile form. This happens to be a residential sale, so I'll click on residential sale and simply start my listing by clicking Start Listing in orange. And it'll take a second to pull up. Once the system has refreshed, I'll notice that I have my actual listing profile form here. Again, it will fill in your office ID. You will fill in the agent ID and it will reflect all their contact information. But as you're scrolling down, you're simply typing in verbatim everything that the agent has on the listing ticket. But if you look closely, you'll notice that the system has filled in all the location information for you. So you can continue to type. As you scroll down, you'll start to again fill in all the details that the agent has put on the listing ticket. Here's all your rooms and levels and floor covering for each room. And again, here's the list date. Remember, we need this information 48 hours from the time that the customer signed the contract that the agent has given you. So you just want to double check those dates. Again, your expiration date. And as you're scrolling down, once again, here are the public remarks versus the agent-only remarks. Just as a recap, public remarks is just for the description of the property. If there's anything other than the description of the property, you probably want to put that in the agent-only remarks. As you continue to scroll down, you of course want to check this box for the signature on file. The agent has documentation that the customer is signed to allow them to put the listing into the Realcomp system. And then of course you'll see your agent signature and owner's signature here. And when you're done typing in all your information for each of the pages, you're simply going to go into the upper right hand corner and you will see where it says Upload Listing. You'll give that a click. If there again is any information missing, it won't turn red for you on this one, but it will read each step that you've missed, and you simply just go back and fix what was missing and then click on Upload Listing. And once everything again has been filled in, you will get yourself an MLS number, and that lets you know that it has been listed in the system. Your next step is to, of course, inform the agent that you have put in their listing. So you may want to go to File. You may want to come down and click on Print and print out this listing for them. It will have an MLS number on it and give it back to the agent. That way they know their property has been listed in the system. You also can print this out if you need to for your office, and you can come down and click on Exit because you've completed your task of putting in your listing. And then simply close out the window for Transaction Desk. Now that you've listed the property, either by going into the input or simply by going into public records and starting a listing input form, once you have an MLS number, you're going to go back to your home button. Now you have to load in your photos. We expect all photos to be uploaded to the MLS number within 7 days, especially the outside photo. The primary photo for all listings needs to be the outside photo that the agent should give you. So here's how you would add in your photos. You must have the MLS number first, so it can attach itself to that listing. So once you write down the MLS number and you're ready to add the photos to it, you're going to go back into Input. You'll click on Input and you'll come over to Quick Modify and you'll simply type in the number that was produced and click on Edit. When you click on Edit, you will not see a photo here. This is our basic photo that says no picture was available. You'll scroll on down to the bottom and you'll notice that you have an option to manage your photos. We're going to click on Manage Photos, and they would probably be on the hard drive, or your agent would have given you a flash drive of some sort where their photos are taken. And you'll browse on your hard drive to go find it. And when you find your photo, and just give me a moment to find it, you'll click on Open, and again, your outside shot is your primary shot. You'll add that to Realcomp, and then if there's more, you can click Browse again, and you can find your photos. So again, you can simply hold your control button down and grab as many photos as you'd like at one time if you wish to. And it will add them in. Now, a couple cool things about the photos. Now, you can actually just add them in, and you can then think about putting them in whatever order you wish. For instance, this is a bedroom shot, and I would maybe want that as my second or third photo. So if I wanted to change that around, I would take my mouse, hover over where it says slot, click, hold, and drag to where I'd like it to shift it around. So again, simply taking your mouse, hovering it over where it says slot, click, hold, drag, and shift it over. You also can add captions, and you should add captions to the photos. So you can simply double click. It opens up the photo that you've added in. I'm going to click on Enter Description and simply type in the name of the room, click Done, and then Save. And now I have a caption for my photo. When other agents or customers actually see the listing, underneath each picture, they will see the caption that you typed in. You can add up to 99 photos, but the primary photo, we need this as soon as possible, and it must be the outside shot. Now, if by chance you needed to change photos, you'd simply do the same thing. You'd go into input, after you save it, of course. You'd go back into input, you'd go into quick modify and type in that MLS number. Click on edit. The photo will appear, and then you simply click on manage photos. And if you'd like to remove it, you simply check the boxes and click on delete checked. It will ask you, are you sure you'd like to delete those items? You'd click OK, and they would be removed just in case you needed to add additional photos to it. So that is how you would add photos to your listing. There is also one other item that you must add, and that are the disclosures for the listing. So it is required, besides the photos, that you add in the lead-based paint and the seller's disclosure. Here's how you would accomplish that. Again, going into input, going into quick modify and simply typing in the MLS number. And clicking edit. Your photo will appear and all is the information about the property. You'll simply scroll on down and click upload documents. When you click on upload documents, and we're just waiting for the system to react, it gives you a step-by-step guide here. But again, the lead-based paint and seller's disclosure will probably be saved to your hard drive, or they have emailed those to you. You'll simply name them, and you will go find them stored on your hard drive by simply clicking the plus add button. And you'll scroll down and simply find your information that's needed. You will see it filter in the box, and you simply click on upload listing document. And there it will be in the system for you. So, just as a recap, putting in your listings two different ways. You can go into input and simply type it in through those 4 pages, or you can go to public records, PRD county search, and choose start a listing using transaction desk. Either way will produce an MLS number for you. Once you've produced that MLS number, you're simply going to go into input again, type in the MLS number and edit and add in your photos. Again, we need that outside shot as soon as possible, but we do give you 7 days to upload the photos. You can upload up to 99, and we ask that you add in your lead-based paint and seller's disclosure. Those are your only requirements for the listing. However, in the life of a listing, many things happen. Prices change. Things will, of course, go pending, or they will eventually go sold. That's the goal. So how do you make those changes to the listing? The agent will produce what's called a status change sheet, where it will have the change that's needed to the listing. It will have their signature, and it will also have the customer's signature. Once they've given you that slip, you'll go into input. You'll type in that MLS number once again, and click on edit. Once you click on edit, you'll see the information about the property. You'll come down under select form, and here's where you will see all of your changes. So let's assume that they're just simply changing the price. You can click on change price, wipe out the old price, put in the new, and then click on submit listing. The change will happen immediately. If by chance you need to mark this property pending, you will again go to input, type the MLS number, Click Edit. This will be the page, and you're simply going to click on Change to Pending. Fill in the pending date that's on the sheet that the agent has given you, and again, click on Submit Listing. The change will be immediate. Now, the property is finally sold. We will need that sold information within 5 days of the closing date. So the agent will give you the form that has the sold information on it. Again, you'll go to Input, type in the MLS number, and click Edit. It will take you to the screen. You will click on Sold, and we will need the closing date, the sale price, the type of finance code, if there were seller's concessions, and if so, you'd fill in the concession type and amount. You'd fill in the selling agent's ID number and anything else that is on the listing ticket, and click on Submit Listing. And again, that would take effect immediately. So the agent will give you that information to do. I'm going to scroll back up to the top and click on the home page. So now that you know how to put in a listing and you know how to add the photos, you also now know how to add in the lead-based paint and seller's disclosure, and now you also know how to make changes to the status of the listing. Let's talk about searching. How do you do just some basic searches in the system in order to find the listings for the agent or customer, and you can save it and you can print it? So I'm going to show you 3 different types of searches. The first is the typical search that we generally do in Realcomp. So I'm going to scroll up to the top and hover over search, and you will notice that you see several different property types here. You've got residential, which includes condo. You've got commercial, multifamily, 2 to 4 units, vacant land, and cross property. Cross property is all zonings. So if you get a call from someone or someone comes to the front desk and you've tried to search the address and it's not coming up, you might want to go to cross property, type in the address, and you will see that it may be a different zoning. A lot of times as we're just driving, you'll see a house and it actually is a business now. So if residential or commercial or multifamily or vacant land don't work as you're typing in the information, make sure you come down to cross property, try the address there, and the information will come up for you. You also will talk about searching for the agent and the office roster as well. So these are your basic searches. Before we go into these and fill in criteria, there's also another type of search that you should be aware of, and probably the most popular, which is the MLS number search. You get a series of MLS numbers and you're thinking, well, where do I go to type that information in? When I click on the home page, if you look in the top center, right under your Real List, Finance, Input, and External Links tabs, you'll see a bar here. It's called the speed bar. You'll see a gray question mark, which is the manual of how to type things in the speed bar. And you'll see a question mark, or I'm sorry, you'll see a magnifying glass to run that search for you. So when someone gives you an MLS number or a series of MLS numbers, you'll simply type them in here and separate them with the space. I'll give you a quick demonstration. Again, everything is separated with the space. And when you hit enter or click on the magnifying glass, it will run your searches for you. And you will also see that it gives you several different statuses, several different types. RS stands for residential, CO stands for condo, the different MLS area numbers, your address, city, county, price, days on market, beds, bath, above great square footage, and for 5 other icons. The time clock gives you history dating back to 95. You also can search public records to see who owns the property and the taxes. RL stands for Realist, which is another version of public records. You can look at a map and you can look at the neighborhood reports that gives demographics year to date back in that area based off of the zip code. So just simply by typing in the MLS number, it will provide the information for you here. I'm going to go ahead and click back on the home page, and I'm going to hover over search. Perhaps a customer or an agent has given you different types of criteria, more so than an MLS number. They want a 3-bedroom. They want a 2.5 bath in Farmington Hills. They want a garage, different things of that sort. So we're going to hover over search, and I'm going to choose residential, and I'm going to click on quick search. When I click on search, residential and quick search, do not let the screen overwhelm you. It's a lot on your screen. However, here's what I've learned. I always start in my upper left-hand corner and work each column as I need it to fill in. There's 2 additional searches on the screen as well. Number 1 is the map search. Perhaps someone gives you an address to start with to search a particular radius around that address. You can fill the address in here, pick your radius, and then fill in the rest of the data in that area. We have a separate video on that I'm going to point out to you once we're done with this. If you scroll down again in the center, here's your address search. You can fill in up to 10 different streets and street names as well. Those same rules on public records by typing in the address apply here too. Asterisks when you're unsure if it's more than one word, if it starts with north, south, east, or west, or even a street like Saint. If you're unsure of either way it goes, put the asterisk there, and then it will run the search for you. But let's finish talking about how to type in basic criteria. So again, I'm going to start in my upper left-hand corner. And again, the information that I'm looking for is the 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath in Farmington Hills, about 1,800 square footage. And roughly starting at $175,000. So I'm simply going to start in my upper left-hand corner, and I'm going to choose active. I'm going to come down and choose residential, and now I have a couple different options of as to type in the address. So I'm going to show you several ways that you can do this. The first way, you can choose the county. So I can scroll down to the county and choose Oakland. Once you learn the code, you can simply type that in the box. When I click on Oakland, all of the areas in Oakland appear for me. So do all of the school districts. So now I can scroll on down if I'd like to and find Farmington Hills. Give it a click. And now I'm searching all active residential properties in Farmington Hills. That's an option for you. Or you could do this. Instead of filling in the county and the area, you can just come over to the city if you'd like and simply type in Farmington Hills. And it will find those matches for you. Or maybe the customer gave strict criteria on just the school district. They want their children to attend Farmington Hills School District, and that's the area they'd like to live in. So instead of choosing the county, the area, or the city, the school district is more important to them. You can leave those blank, and you can simply start typing in the school district. And then you will have all the properties in that particular school district. If by chance they were looking in more than one county, or more than one area, or city or school district, after you type in the first, you can put a comma behind it and then find the others as well, as many as there are. So I'm going to go back up to Farmington Hills here. And once I type in Farmington Hills, down at the bottom left, you'll notice how many matches I currently have. So the system has a count on the fly with the information as you're typing it in. I only have 3 bits of criteria. I'm looking for active residentials in Farmington Hills, and I already have 273 matches. I'm also looking for a colonial, so I'll come on down to architectural style and I'll choose colonial. And again, it reflects how many actually properties are colonial in Farmington Hills. I'll go up to my third column. Again, I'm looking for homes at least starting at 175,000. Well, when this box is checked, it assumes zeros for you. So I can put 175 plus. Don't forget your plus sign. That's saying I want at least this number and more. Or you can do a range. Perhaps I'm looking for 175 to 300,000. I could fill it in that way as well. I also, if I were searching leases, I could simply click on lease, and that would give me my lease properties as well. But we're strictly going to do 175,000 or more. Now I need to fill in the data of the property that I'm looking for. I'm looking for at least 3 bedrooms. So I'll put in 3 plus. A minimum of 3 is what I'm looking for. If I just fill in 3, I'm only going to get 3, no more, no less. So don't forget your plus sign. I'm also going to come down and put in how many bath and lavs I'd like. I need at least 2.5. So I'm going to put 2.1 plus. Now we might write it as 2.5, but that would give me 2 bathrooms and 5 lavs according to Realcomp. So when you're using bath.lavs, it's asking for how many full and then how many lavs or half baths are you looking for. So it's 2.1 plus. I need at least 2 bathrooms and 1 lav or more. I'm going to scroll on down just a tad bit. And again, the minimum square footage I'm looking for is about 2,200. So I'm going to put 2,200 plus and my above grade square footage. And again, it's reflecting my matches, the criteria I'm typing in. I'm also in need of a garage and a basement. So I'm simply going to come down and say yes for a garage and yes for a basement. And again, it matches my criteria. Now, I may need to be specific on a certain size car garage or if I'd like my basement finished or not. Notice that they are not on the screen, those options. So anytime that you're doing a search and you have particular criteria that you don't have a place to search with it for, you'll come down to your bottom left where it says additional fields, click on add, and based off of the listing ticket, you'll scroll down and find what field it's in. And I'm going to ask for garage size and basement type. So I'll find it and I'll double click garage size. I see it adds it over to the left. I'm also going to add in basement type. I'll double click that, add it over to the left. And once I've added over all the fields that I'm looking for, I'll simply come down to the bottom and click back. When I click on back, all the fields that I've added over, I can scroll down and now I can search with those. So if I'm looking for at least a 2-car garage, I can click on 2-car. And again, my matches reflect that. I can also come down to basement type. I'm looking for a finished basement. I can click on finished. And again, my matches reflect that. Once I have the matches that I'm looking for, I will click on results. And here are all the matches that fit the criteria that I've typed in. Now, it takes you to the grid single line as a default, and it takes you to 25 matches. I have 41, so I, in my upper right-hand corner, will click that down arrow, and I'm going to change mine to 50. You can search up to 250 per page. When I click on 50, now I have all of my results on one page. You can sort any way that you like. Perhaps you'd like to put your results in order by address. If that's the case, you can come up to the top and click on address, and it will put them in alphabetical order. You also may want to search by price. I can click on the word price one time, and it will put my information lowest to highest. Maybe I want that a little different though, so I'm going to double click the word price, and now I can do highest to lowest. That works for any of these fields simply by clicking on it once to organize it and then double clicking it to do ascending to a descending order. Now, once you have your properties here, perhaps you'd like to look at photos. So I'm going to show you two different reports that will help you tremendously while you're doing your research. The grid single line is great. As you can see, it has the MLS number, the status, the type, area, address, city, county, price, days on market, beds, bath, and above grade square footage, and those icons we talked about earlier. But most people like pictures. So again, I'm going to show you two reports that are going to help you tremendously when looking through your results. If I look in my upper right-hand corner, where it says display, I'm currently looking at the grid single line. I'm going to click that down arrow, and I'm going to change mine to the summary. When I clicked on the summary report, I get the picture of the property if it's listed. I also get a quick synopsis of each property, and I get the agent and office who listed it with their phone numbers along with the remarks section. So I can scan through all of my results very easily at one time just by changing it to the summary. If I'm interested in a photo, all I have to do is click on the photo. It opens up, and then I can scroll through and look at all the photos that the agent has uploaded. And that's why it's so important to put captions to your photos so everyone knows what room they're looking at. If I'd like to dig a little deeper and look at a report just for one property at a time, that report is, I'm going to go back up to the top where it says display, click that down arrow, and out of all the reports we have when looking at single properties, I'm going to strongly suggest that you use the full large with map and rollouts. Everything you need is here. Although all of our other reports are great, this one has everything you need at one click. So the full large with map and rollouts per property. I'm going to give that a click, and it gives me the MLS number, the address, the price, if there's been any recent changes to the property so I can see when it was added in new. I have the photo, the map, where it's located, and all those icons on the grid single line, I see them here underneath the photo. If you're dealing with showing time, you will also be able to see the showing time icon on full listings. So you'll have to either click on the MLS number or you'll have to change it to what we're currently looking at, which is the full large with map and rollouts for showing time. You'll get all the information about the property, including the room dimensions. As you continue to scroll down, you will also receive the public remarks as well as the realtor remarks. So again, just as a refresher, public remarks is just to describe the property. Anything that's not pertaining to the description of the property, you're going to put that in the agent only remarks, and it shows here in the realtor remarks. And if you like rollouts, I'd like to look at the history, so I'll click that down arrow under listing history, and I can see the agent who listed the property along with the different statuses. Perhaps I'm after photos. Underneath listing history, I see additional photos. I can click that down arrow and see all the photos. And maybe I'm interested to find out what the taxes are or who owns this property. Underneath the photos, I can click on public records, and it will give me the information that I'm looking for. I can print this if need be. If I like to look at all of my results this way, down at the bottom right, I can toggle through the numbers, or I can click next and previous and do the same thing. I have my photo, my map, all the information about the property, both the agent and realtor remarks, again, my listing history, my additional photos. So remember, you can upload up to 99 photos. And again, public records. So this is probably one of the best reports that we have. And as you can see in this case, here is what, when you put your remarks underneath your photo, this is what they will look like. So if you can, please make sure to put a caption under the photo so people know which bedroom is which. Now, to get back to all of your results at one time, because perhaps you need to print out a couple of listings, or maybe you need to just simply save the search. You're going to scroll back at the top, and you have two ways to get back. Stay away from the bad back button that will possibly click you out of the system, and you'll have to log back in and lose your results. But under display, we can click that down arrow and you can go back to your grid single line, but the system remembers where you first started. For every report that you click on, if you look right above the address, right in the center, it remembers your original default. You can click on grid single line and it will take you back to your one-liner. When you are ready to print, you're simply going to check the boxes to the left, of the properties you'd like to print. You'll notice your buttons in blue highlight, and down at the bottom you can click on print, and you'll scroll down, and if you're printing for a customer, you always want to use the client version. If you're printing for the agent, you can use any version that you like, but for a customer, you make sure that you choose the client view. It will strip the listing agent's information off of it, and it will have the current agent that they're speaking with's information there. So I'm going to choose client flyer. I'd also like to choose a multi-map as well. Customers need maps. And once I've highlighted both of those, I can come down and click on print to PDF. It takes a moment to upload, but you will have the agent have their header here. These will already print on letter size paper for you. So you'll just simply scroll down. You'll see the page break here for each property. And you will also see a map where each of those properties are located. And you can print this out and give it to the customer, or print it and give it back to the agent so they can give it to their customer. It opened in a separate window, so you can close that window. And when you're ready to go back to your results, down at the bottom left, you're going to click on back to results, and you are back at your 41 matches in this particular case. What if you needed to save the search? I'm going to deselect all the properties because I want all the criteria. And if I had to run the search and simply save it, one of the best parts about the system is when you save a search, when you run the search, you will always get the latest information. So I'm looking at Farmington Hills for a 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath. These are my results at this particular point. So I'm going to scroll down to the bottom left and click on save. And when I click on save, I need to save this so I can retrieve it again. So I'm going to click on new save search. When I click on new save search, I need to add a name to it. I'd like to save it to my home page for easy access, so I'll check that box that says enable as a favorite search. Or if this is for a customer, you can click on create a contact, put in the customer's name and email address, and then come down to the bottom and click save. Once you click on save, it comes back and it shows you all the matches that you currently have. But then when you click on your home page, underneath your homepage, you'll again find my favorite searches. You can have up to 20 of your favorite searches here. Here's the search that I just did, Farmington Hills area. When I'd like to look at those results, I'm simply going to click on Farmington Hills area and it runs the search for me so that I can look at a different display if need to, check some things off, and print them if need be. And it will always be saved under my RCO and saved searches. If by chance you need to change the criteria, you can go to my RCO and save searches, find the search that you did, because it will never delete, click the down arrow in front of it, and simply click on criteria, and here's the criteria that we used previously. You can change anything that you like. Click back on save, change the name if need be, and click on save again, and you have yourself a new search. Again, it will always save it under save searches, but you also may want to put it under my favorite searches for easy access. So once you save a search, it'll be under my RCO and save searches, or if you chose to put it on your home page, under my favorite searches. So I have one more search to show you. And again, we're going to go into the map search so you can see how cool the map search is. If I hover over search, again, I'm going to go to residential and quick search. This time, to use the map search, let's say that an agent or a customer gives you an address and they like to live in the area where that address is. So you're going to come to search, and in this case, let's say it's residential. And before you type anything in, you're going to come right in the center where it says map search and type the address in this box. So let's say I like to live 2 miles from where I work. You'll ask me my work address, and you'll simply type in the address. And once you type in the street number and street name, you can either type in the city or the zip code. That's all you need. And then you want to tell the system how far around this address you'd like to search. Well, I'd like to live 2 miles around it. The system reacts, and I'll notice that map area selected has been chosen. And if I want to double check just to make sure I'm correct, in my upper right hand corner, I'll notice there's a map tab. I'll simply click on that. And the red star is my subject property, and this is showing me my 2 miles in a circumference of my subject property. Well, now I'm going to fill in data in that area. So I'm going to go back up to the top and click on criteria. And again, start in my left-hand column and just follow suit. So I'm looking to buy, so I'll choose active. I'm looking for a condo this time, so I'll click on condominium. As I continue to scroll down, I don't need to put the county, area, city, or school district in, and I don't need to fill in any of the other data, but I am looking for a particular price range. I'm looking to lease this time. So when you're filling in to buy, the system recognizes thousands. So this time I'd like to lease. So let's say that I could lease between 1,700 and 2,500. With the box checked, I have to use the decimal system. So I'm going to put 1.7 to represent 1,700 dash 2.5. And that will get me to 1,700 to 2,500. Or I can do this with leases. I can uncheck the box and now it renders hundreds for me. So now I can put 1,700 to 2,500. And I have 3 matches. To be on the safe side, although I know I'm looking for leases, I don't want any sales to pop up. I'm going to click on lease underneath transaction type. I'm still looking for at least 2 bathrooms, so I'll put 2 bedrooms, so I'll put 2 plus for bedrooms. And I'm also looking for a bath and a half, so I'll put 1.1 plus. 1 full bath and 1 lav or more, so I'll put the plus. I'll scroll on down, and I need at least 1,100 square feet, so 1,100 plus. And I'll scroll on down and look at my results. When I click on results, I see my properties here, the status, the type, area, address, city, county, price, days on market, beds, baths, and above grade square footage. Again, in order to change the way that I'm looking at my results, I can click that down arrow and look at the summary. If I want to look at each individual result at one time, I can click that down arrow and change it to the full large with map and rollouts and read all the information about the property, room dimensions, things of that sort, listing history, additional photos of each of the properties, and then public records for who owns it and taxes and things of that sort. If I want to go back to my one-liner to print or to save, I can click the down arrow for the display and go back to grid single line. Or remember, it's always in the top center above the address. So I can click on the link for that and it'll take me back to my matches and my grid single line. If by chance you find yourself getting interrupted and you lose the search that you did, when you log back into the system, you have a friend here in the upper right-hand corner. It's called Recent Searches. If you click that down arrow, it saves the last 50 searches that you've done. So at any time you want to go back and look at those results, all you have to do is look at the name, click on it, and it will run your results for you. And you'll have everything that you're looking for here. So that's how you do a search in the system. 3 different ways: public records, the MLS number search, the search here under residential and quick search, how you print, how you save the search, and how to retrieve it under recent searches. There's just one more search that I have to show you, and that's searching by agent. So perhaps there's a particular agent that you need to find in the system. If you hover over search or office, if you hover over search and you come down to agent roster, I'm going to click on the quick search. If you know their agent ID number, great. You can type that in and click on results. But if you only know their name, you simply will go into the last and first name. Again, using those asterisks if you don't know how to spell it or you're unsure of how to spell it. So just a little will do. Notice I only typed in the first couple of letters of the last name and the first couple of letters of the first name, and I have 7 matches. When I click on results, now I can scroll down and find the agent that I'm looking for. And I'll see their agent ID number, their office, phone number, email address if they've allowed that, and their website. So now I have that information, and when I click on the link of the ID number, it gives me some more information about the agent. So I hope this was helpful to you. Please, again, think of coming to our class. Now that you've watched this video, we get into much more depth of how to use the system. You can call us at our customer care department or our training department as an assistant. We'll be glad to sign you up for this class. So this was the front office webinar. This class is strictly for assistants. So we hope that you join us. If you are looking for additional help and you like webinars, please make sure you go into the help button once you log in to Realcomp Online. When you click on help, here's a printout of all of our manuals. But if you like to watch webinars, if you click the down arrow where it says training videos and recorded webinars, under recorded webinars, here are all of our classes. So if you'd like more in-depth information, you can watch a video just by itself on how to enter listings. You also can learn how to search and create emails. You can watch how to perform the map search. If you'd like to know more about that speed bar, which is awesome, you have the speed bar tips and tricks. And if you want to search more about public records, here's searching PRD, which stands for public record data, real list, and creating mailing labels so that you can send out marketing information. You can watch these videos as many times as you'd like to. But again, here's all the classes that we hold, and we'd love for you to join us for this class and then any other additional classes that you'd like to take. So again, we thank you and have a great day. We look forward to seeing you soon. Bye-bye.